Actually, your approach with this reminded me of what I think Alex North used to do. Alex, I think, used to work his scenes out on 3x5 cards and paste them all over his room, and then or over his studio, and then work out structurally what his film was. But of course, you could never tell by the way it was written because it was always done with so much art. When you said when you finished recording, you take it home with your Pro Tools. So in a sense, you reconstruct your performances. And is this where you actually you would use your original score as the building material for the score, or would you just more or less work it more specifically into the scene?
No, it was just 2-track editing.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
That's all. I didn't even. I don't think I even did any multi-track editing.
So basically, what we heard here was a performance.
One edit.
One edit. Oh,
There's
okay.
only one edit in that scene.
Okay.
And that it's I have found more often than not, and it's very hard. Again, the word trust I think is very apropos here. It's very hard to trust this, but I have found more often than not the happy accident is better than 14 hours of hard thinking about something. And I try to build into my process the ability to find as many happy accidents as possible. And
now
this whole score is a series of happy accidents.
In this long scene, was there any attempt to? I mean, it sounds as though it's of a piece. It's one long piece.
Yeah, there is a 32-bar structured
right.
piece of music here. And I'll admit that I played it through on the piano to picture and said, look, if these guys keep this basic tempo, the C section will come in as Julie comes through the door, and I can recapitulate the coda as they fall on the bed, and I can do this interactive thing between the trumpet and the violin as they start to make love. But it's all just sort of written down on paper. I didn't click it out.
Oh, really? There's no click track?
Oh, if you hired Billy Higgins.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to put headphones with click on Billy Higgins. There's not a chance. But he was such a remarkable drummer that you could give him. I took a little handheld metronome and I'd worked out sort of the BPMs that would sort of get that structure,
right.
and just gave it to him and said, "This is where I'd like this piece to be," and that's where he put it.
So in this particular case, basically the director came to you with an idea. You did an album. I've written a script to it. I've made the movie, it's greenlighted, and I want you to do the picture. In general, when you come to a picture, what's the creative urge? I mean, how do you begin to decide whether you're going to do a score like this or a score that, I mean, you have quite a wide range. You do scores that are somewhat more traditional, scores that are very different, and you obviously decide from film to film. What is it that leads to that process? Is it the knowledge of the director or the film itself, or a combination of all of them?
It's definitely a combination. With Alan, one of the few directors I think I could get away with something like this. In fact, I'm not quite sure. I mean, Robert Altman probably would have done it. But of the directors I know and worked with, or I don't know of any others actually that would have that much trust that you could do something like this that was so unknown that could not be proven until you'd actually sort of spent all your money, whether it was really going to work or not.
Now, you've mentioned in interviews that budget is a huge consideration in the creative process. I mean, obviously, you were talking earlier in Crash, you didn't have the money and you couldn't do certain things, so it limits you. But it also tends to expand you creatively, I take it.
I think so. I find that totally true. I think, just again, as Mychael said, that the symphony orchestra is a simple solution, and sometimes it's a very easy solution. And the more money you have, then you can just book 80 pieces for a week, and you can change the orchestration because they're all sitting there and they're all waiting for you, and you have a whole team that can help you, and it actually, once you get how to do that game efficiently and professionally, it's a very well tended and because everyone agrees this is the tradition of Western orchestral music. Everyone knows it, everyone, and you can find in this town the masters of it, masters of orchestration and players. And but you do something of which you don't have that sort of group education and agreement on. This is how it's done. You sort of have to make it up as you go along a lot of the time, and that's much more difficult.
And you find this more common in independent films than
Absolutely.
Because
it's the trade-off, because if you the more money that's being spent on a film, the more prediction the filmmakers and the studio are going to want as to what they're paying for and what they're going to get. And they're going to give you $1.3 million to make a score. They want to know every note. You know, there's no doubt in their mind they want to know what every note is. You know, if you've got a package deal for 50 grand,
Right.
as far as I'm concerned, they don't have the right to know. You know, if that's what you're paying, I'm going to give you what you're,
Right.
you know, what I think for 50 grand that you can have. You know,
Do you search out independent films? I mean, of a certain quality that you can
absolutely.
do a certain kind of score?
I had an epiphany about 8 or 10 years ago that my career is my career. And that the person that's going to get me the films that I want to score is me. And that's nothing against the profession of agent, but I take responsibility for the films that I want to score. And if there's a film out there that I want, I'll take the steps to go get it.
It makes
And
a lot of sense.
regardless of the price. I mean, and really, obviously, Crash paid nothing. And
Well, the music lasts
So-
for a long time.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
thank
it gets around. Well, thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
We will come back again. Mr. Mark Isham.